Hello, Sorry Cap, Mai. Welcome back to Thailand. True Blue Thai here from Thailand. Hope you're doing well. It's Friday, one towel here in Thailand, and yeah, we just had a bit of a thunderstorm. It's around about midday, but 12:30. So, for instance, we just had a bit of a thunderstorm. So now it's yeah. So hopefully that should clear everything up. We've had a so for instance, and yeah, but it was strange because we don't normally get rain in the hot season. So for instance, and we've had a few showers. Good for the water, good for the plants, etc. But and it kills the heat for a little bit for a while. But yeah, so strange. Anyway, never mind. So I hope you're doing well. So for instance, it's game day for you. Because you're living in the West and blah, blah, or more than likely, for instance, and so you're going to sit there and be able to sit down and have a pizza or something like that, or an evening, and sit there and drink, and at 8 o'clock in the evening, we're all going to the game, for instance, and watching the game. Me, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. kickoff for me. Lovely. Thank you, Man City. Thank you, TV. Blah, blah, blah. Wonderful. Rather than a Saturday afternoon, 10 o'clock kickoff, etc. for me, the 10 p.m. kickoff. I've got to wait. I've got a Saturday morning at 2 a.m. to watch the game. Wonderful. 2 a.m. Do you know what's open in Thailand here? Well, a lot of the bars are open, but dodgy bars, etc. But, so I will be cheering this, again, I live in a Thai area, for instance, can't wait the neighbours. So, yeah, so especially, it's, yeah. Anyway, so think about me, for instance, a little bit. You probably won't, but never mind. Anyway, so hope you're doing well. So, for instance, it's a game day. For instance, we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers. For instance, which is interesting. Just before I start, by the way, North Forest. Did you enjoy counting seats at the Brentford game last night? Sorry, what? So they didn't fill out their allocation, though, did they? And were you too busy counting seats and didn't realise the score? What was the score? 2-0 to Brentford. Yeah. So those empty seats. They beat you 2-0 as well as City. So it's all coming back down to Russo, Nottingham Forest now, isn't it? Eh? So lovely, absolutely fantastic, good result. Yeah, okay. But yeah, for instance, and so well done, Brentford. So we've got Wolverhampton to Friday, England European time. For instance, all the games this week will be Aston Villa against home to Fulham. That'd be interesting, but I think that's going to be a tough one for Villa, and Villa need a win, so I think that's going to be an easy one for them. But especially their performance at the moment, I expect them to win. Other ones relating to close to us are Chelsea. They got Liverpool on Sunday, for instance, at 2:30 kickoff against Chelsea at home against Liverpool, which they need. What are Liverpool going to be like? Are they going to be on the beer too much? Who knows? For instance, still celebrating. Will they care too much? Still, Liverpool, ever since they won their title, apart from beating Spurs last week with no surprise, kind of like falling off the cliff a little bit. So, for instance, in their performance, not performance, falling off the cliff. Wow. Sorry, I do apologise. Don't say falling off the cliff. I heard a Liverpool fan describe a Man City season as falling off the cliff. But that's the reason why that's just up there. Anyway, so and Palace have got playing Forest on the 5th of May. For instance, at Palace. So yeah. Anyway, so. Well, it's some interesting fixes. So we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers who are coming into a bit of form at the moment, playing well. They were totally up for relegation, but they've changed the manager, for instance, and they've come into a better form. So they've got the last 6. They're all win against Southampton, West Ham, Ipswich, Spurs, United, and Leicester. Teams you would expect them to win. I know they were was it 2-0 down against Leicester, for instance, and then come back to make it 2-2 or 3-2 or whatever. So the fact was it 4. But yeah, so so it looks good for them, and certainly not going to go down. Well, definitely not. But for instance, but you would expect them to beat those teams, etc. But again, you've got to beat what's in front of you, and well done to them. City are coming to the form, etc. In a very settled win. So in the last Premier League, we won 5 out of 6. We've only got one blemish, and that was the rags, which is still embarrassing. That was the worst derby, for instance, I've had in a long time. Wolves are 15th in the table as it stands. For instance, 41 points, got a -10 goal difference. Whoa. So, for instance, yeah, so I think if they beat City, for instance, they would have stayed 15th with Palace on 45 points. City was in yeah, City are a little bit higher. So for instance, for instance, so we can actually go third today, only points behind Arsenal. So for instance, so there you are. You know, and our falling off the cliff season. But we'll say we're both coming into a bit of we're in a bit of form at the moment, etc. I think our settled back four. With Guardiola to playing well with for instance, yes. But let's go on to the injuries at the moment. So injuries at the moment, they're missing a few. They got Quigwami, Musquera, Gonzalez, Kazadic, Johnson, and Lima, maybe. So they've got a few injuries. What's it called? Don't know really how important they are to their players. We expect their starting lineup, what's it called, to be Josie in goal. Then they will play a back three of Doherty, Abiago, and Totti Gomez, with Samino and Agenori, what's it called, coming in at the back as well. They can play a back five. Then you've got uh, Gomez and Andre, for instance. So for instance, in the centre, with Mutsemis and Cunha, for instance, on the opposite sides, with Larson up front. For instance, they'll play that. Cunha is that one who's linked. He's the nasty one. He's linked with United at the moment, so I'm going to keep an eye on him and see how he plays. City, I expect Edison back into goal. I know, for instance, I think Pep kind of also gave it away when he actually mentioned about Edison. And I'll have Guardiola, Ruben Diaz. I'll have, for instance, Nicola O'Reilly and Nunes, except back four. Keep it as a set of back four. Playing well at the moment, and yeah, looking good. They got wingers, which they can fast attack, etc., which is going to be could be pivotal to the game for them if they're going to get something out of it. Let's see how they play. They might be a little bit more cautious because of City's performances and probably want to go, but you never know. For instance, they might get a chance, but their wingers, right, most, etc., will try and get through us. Our central midfield, I expect, is Gundogan, Kovacic, and probably bring Bernardo Silva back in. For instance, or play Bernardo Silva. That even though we've got Nico O'Reilly on the Nico Gonzalez on the bench, etc., which I prefer, but I expect. But these guys also playing very well for us at the moment, so why not keep that lineup? I was still allowed to have Jeremy Doku, for instance, and so for instance, in as well, with De Bruyne in the centre and Mamouche pushing up front. So, for instance, that would be my team. But but again, for once, we'll have to see what Pep's going to say. Whether it predicts with Jack Grealish and not putting Doku, but I think Doku would be ideal in this match, etc. For instance, as far as injuries Man City is concerned, I said, well, we got the usual lot, haven't we? So, for instance, but I expect, for instance, we saw Edison. I think it's too early, and it sounded too early from what Pep was saying for instance, what's it called, Rodri to be. I don't think he's been signed off by the doctor. I think Pep was adding by that, even though sort of, he's definitely back in training. I'd be brilliant to see him, etc. back. But I just want Man City to show a lot of caution. I would not be surprised, even though Pep was not hinting it to Haaland back. I would not be surprised if he goes 20 minutes and saw him on the bench. So, for instance, whether it's a used sub or unused sub, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be on the bench because he looks like he was training. I saw him physically training inside City, and so he looks moving well, shooting, doesn't seem to be have any pain, and seems to be joking around with Kevin De Bruyne. So, for instance, but I expect him to maybe see him on the bench, but we'll see. Apart from that, Oscar Bob. Maybe I was probably see Phil Foden could start as well, but we'll see. For instance, maybe over Bernardo Silva, but we'll see what. But again, that's another one. But this is Pep Guardiola. We don't know. For instance, Nicola O'Reilly might even start. You never know. Not O'Reilly. What's it called? What was it saying? No, I'm not Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob. I probably expect you will not see. What was his name? Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis. Sorry. No, Peter, wake up. Anyway, so that's who I would say. As far as for instance, comments about the from the press conferences. I think, for instance, the under-18s talked about the under-18s playing well. He was asked about that. So you've got the under-18s, so you've got the massive games at Villa Park, etc. For instance, who can win the league. And also, for instance, we got the women again on Sunday, which I'm doing a video for as well, because again, for instance, got United because Chelsea beating United, so for instance, all sets up for the Champions League final. Qualification for the Champions League against Palace. For instance, for instance, we were showing great respect for Palace, but how they've come against City. It was asked about the this time off, etc. for the players. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be. I think they're going to get maximum 2 weeks off, but then I think the law requirement is at least 3 weeks off. So how the hell are we going to? That's going to be planned out. It's going to be really weird. It's going to be really strange. For instance, but it's a requirement. I'm asking if he wanted to go to a pub for a drink with the fans, after the game, for instance. I think he didn't know, but he said, I'm quite happy to do so. It'd be wonderful to see him with the pint with the, for instance, with the City fans. Asked about Josh Guardiola. He said he can play centre back, left back, perfect. Is doing less mistakes than before. A months ago, but to me, he's been the best player of the season by far. The top. Answered a poll of is he going to be the player of the season, and to me, I would say 100%. I think it was 70% City fans saying yes, he would. Nicola O'Reilly, why didn't we play him earlier? Yes, he was asked. Whether when Erling Haaland's back, so we don't know. Again, he doesn't know. I am not a doctor, he says. Whether you want, that was quite funny. Whether you want to, and again, stupid questions by the media. If it was either the Champions League or the FA Cup, who do you want to win? Wolves. Honestly, that's very funny. Right, other news was Kevin De Bruyne, for instance, news. Sadness. Chicago Fire the kind of in pole position, but again, it's on a speculation. You don't know. For instance, the ticket news as well that came on the website. There was a lot. If you want to go to the Man City website, for instance, a lot said because there's a 6-minute protest tonight. Whether it'll still take place, I think it still will because again, for instance, we still got to be putting pressure on the club. It doesn't look good for the club. It really doesn't because it's on TV tonight. And at 6 minutes, all the fans we got this coming into it. And whether what happened with City Matters and City last night was enough to stop the protest tonight, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. For instance, but I do think it will probably go ahead. But again, for instance, Man City are not the Glazers. We're not the bad guy, and they are talking with City Matters. They are trying to sort something out regarding season cards and season tickets. I think it's some at the club. It's kind of I wouldn't say kind of tugging the eye of the ball a lot, but now, what's it called again? For instance, they're not the Glazers. They're not, for instance, the other teams, etc. For instance, they sit down with City fans to sit there and talk about about it, and there is a certain degree of agreement. A lot was come on yesterday about money back for the players, more of the flexi gold. I know some City fans are not happy, but I do think there'll be a happy medium. There'll be a happy I still want to see the minutes of the meeting. I still want to see the reaction from the City Matters in 1894. But I do believe, for instance, we will come to an agreement of some kind of court. I won't be happy for every person. So you can't please everybody. But for instance, Manchester City will. I do believe, for instance, will connect with the fans, and they will, um, you know, we will. We're not the best. We're not the best City fans, and we need to come together as a football club, and and hopefully we can, yeah. So, but I do believe there's a lot of issues, but it's nice to see the football club reacting to the issues. Maybe not ticking all the boxes, but at least they're trying. So, and we've got to give the thumbs up to this football club, and not give it to Pep Guardiola. It's not fair for Pep Guardiola to have to answer questions about it. And I think Man City needs to put up a spokesman next to Pep Guardiola to ask about tickets and ask about things. Pep Guardiola is an employee of the football club, and I know he's the face of the football club, and he's the for journalists. But I think it's wrong for City fans and the media to ask Pep Guardiola about about matters regarding charges and tickets, etc. Because it's just not his job, and I don't want him to be. I want him to focus on his job, and which is and not things off the field. Yeah. So it's going to be a big game tonight, etc. Mega important. We need the 3 points just as much as because we keep the pressure on the others. I do feel we'll go unbeaten for the rest of the season. Why? Because we're Manchester City. B, for instance, we've done it before many times. C, for instance, I think we're in pretty decent form and getting players back, etc., which creates competition. And so for instance, and I think and the running we've got is we should be beating these teams. But this is football, and you just don't know. If United and Spurs can get to the European Cup final, my God, there's hope for anything to happen. So there you go. But I'll speak to you Sunday, tomorrow, Saturday, 1 hour, about the game. Hope we got 3 points. Hope my eyes are not too far on the ground watching the game and getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going to bed at 5. I hope we can talk about another 3 points. Like and subscribe. Tell me what you're thinking. I'm going for a 3-0 victory. I think Man City will be just too good for Wolverhampton, but I do believe, for instance, they will give. There'll be a lot more about them, etc., than what I expected probably a few weeks ago, because they're going in good form. Still got good players. That Cunha is someone to watch out for, but I do believe City are in a good form and now at the moment, and I expect us to win and have a good game, and big up to the going. If you're going to the protest, I support you, but again, we need to see what come together with the club, and I'm sure the club and supporters will come together in the future. So, Sorry Cat from Thailand, and I'll speak to you Saturday once out. For instance, and hopefully we got 3 points in the bag, and we can enjoy the City game, Man City ladies, on Sunday. That's a decent time for me. So, okay, Sorry Cat from Thailand. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.